Well, what do you say? What do you say to some of the newer designers when, like, how do you use? I mean, you've been doing this for 15 years. How do you kind of break the news based on your many years doing this?
Well, a lot of times it's just very evident. We have our internal focus test, then of course the external one, and usually the designers either get to go to one or the other, and they pretty much see what's going on. And the questionnaires pretty much say it. And really to kind of soften the blow, I mean, everyone will talk about it. We'll talk about the pros of why the design can be fun and what options we have to fix it. Some of it's just number changing. You make the damages of the enemies not as harsh. You dial that back, or you change when they wake up. You have a rule that says they don't wake up off screen and jump you. So one thing that I tell them is that the more you can look at the signs early, the earlier you can have people look at your levels. And listen to, we have a great QA team that writes up these fun, not fun reports, and they've got a lot of really good information because these guys are playing the game all the time. And a lot of times the designers are so focused on one particular thing that they don't quite get that sort of perspective. They're wiring it up, rigging it all up, and writing scripts. So to have the QA folks who have a really good sense of, they've played a lot of games, very passionate about it, to have that kind of report is very helpful.
Yeah, that was actually what I was going to ask about. And I realized it right after saying your question, because that's probably one of my favorite reports that I think comes out every week, because I don't have a chance necessarily to play, see everything that's going in every week, and the QA guys definitely do. So you can almost, that's one of my favorite ways to see the progress of everything, because they're always like, oh, this is a lot more fun now, and this is great, and this is great, and this is great, and this is what we think could use a little bit of help, and it's just really, really cool. It's a lot of fun to read it every week.
And it's unflinchingly honest. I mean, it was very successful on Resistance, and it really requires a level of brutal honesty that almost some people may not be comfortable with.
Yeah, but I mean, we'd much rather hear it now than see it in a review or get complaints, from fans on message boards. So we know that, we have to stay objective and fix stuff because to find out in whenever Christmas time, November, or really stinks.
What's been the biggest surprise so far from the fun not fun reports that has forced you to re-examine elements of the game design?
I don't know if there's been a lot of big surprises. I mean, there's stuff that we just didn't know about, but when we do hear about it, they did point out much earlier about the big monsters stomping the crap out of you. It's going to be the theme for the day here.
Yes.
And that was something that we just hadn't been looking at for a while. But, there's a lot of stuff, that just hasn't been getting the proper level of attention. The way it works is we'll do the first part of the game, and then we'll put that into a focus test, hear complaints, polish that first part, and then put in new parts of the second part of the game. And then a lot of the unpolished stuff is what ends up getting a lot of that negative feedback.
Cool. Well, I haven't been around for the past couple weeks. I know you've probably gone around and seen some of the new stuff going in. What cool has been going in while I've been out? Like, what have you seen recently that you thought was cool?
Well, for me, what's been really impressive is just seeing the animation and the movies get into the engine, because we've had a lot of animatics. We've had what we call playback blasts, which have been rendered on the computer that we would play for the focus test. But to actually see the engine playing a movie with all the proper lighting, and we've been putting these together for the first level of the game. It's really spectacular, and it just really makes it clear that we're not making a PS2 Ratchet game. And so that's great to see. And the animators have been working super hard on these cutscenes to make sure that they're a much greater level of quality. And so it's a lot more work than it was because we have more joints to work with. The models are more complex, and we know that there's just a much higher level of expectations.
Yeah, I would say that looking at the cutscenes so far, the biggest thing I've noticed is that truly Ratchet and Clank are so much closer to feeling alive and that they actually exist than I thought that towards the end of Deadlocked and even some of the cutscenes in Up Your Arsenal, there was that certain sense of vibrancy with the characters, but it's on a whole new level here. The expressiveness in Ratchet's face, the shininess in Clank's metal, it's really spectacular, I have to agree.
Yeah, Steve Ryder is one of our senior animators who's been he's worked on both Deadlocked and this game, and he's just done this exceptional job with Ratchet and added a lot of those expressions. He also did a lot of the dancing that was seen in the Gamers Day video of that little swarmer creature and the centipede doing the worm, and so I think he was kind of the star of that show without realizing it.
Now, do we actually have footage of him doing those dances?
I don't know if he did the worm. I don't know if he's been doing dances. I know we have dancing.
We've got to get that.
Yeah, we do have some great dancing
we've
movies.
Got to get that. We need that for the site.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, one other thing to follow up with what Ryan was saying too is, and I know we talked about this at Gamers Day, but just like when talking about Ratchet's expressiveness, there are 90 points in his face for animation for PS3 Ratchet. PS2 Ratchet had 120 in his whole body.
112.
Yeah. That's so. Mm-hmm. I had the right numbers, but I had an extra 0. One, 2. So 112 versus 90.
And it's evident.
Yeah,
it's very, very evident.
So it'll be pretty cool to it'll be pretty cool. I think when people finally get to see the E3 demo in a little over a month, and I'm excited to see the feedback. Should be a good time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that'll wrap up our Ratchet and Clank Future production update.